Good evening, you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We're starting off today's bulletin with LPG price hike. Now, the price of domestic cooking gas (LPG) was hiked by 3.50 rupees per cylinder today. With this, the cost of a cylinder has now crossed the 1000 rupee mark. In Delhi and Mumbai, it's over the 1000 rupee mark. In Delhi, it's 1003 rupees. In Kolkata, it's 1029 rupees, and in Chennai, it's 1018.5 rupees. Now, the price of LPG has been rising consistently since November 2020, with the price of a 14.2 kg cylinder in Delhi rising by over 400 rupees. Costs of LPG cylinders vary across cities because of taxes, especially the value added tax. Now, on May 1st, the prices of 19 kg commercial LPG cylinders were raised by a steep 102.50 rupees to 2355.50 rupees. Moving on now to the flood situation, not just in the northeast region but also in the south. We'll start off with Assam. The death toll in Assam has now reached 9. More than 6 lakh people across 27 districts have now been displaced in the state. Now, embankments have breached, roads and bridges are in a bad condition. Several locations of the Badarpur Hill section of the northeast frontier zone of Indian Railways are waterlogged. Now, the army has been deployed to rescue stranded villagers. 50,000, 50,000 people, including 7,000 children in 27 flood-hit districts have been shifted to safer places. Now, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has said that the state government has released 150 crore rupees to the flood-hit districts, while the centre has sanctioned 1,000 crore rupees for the state as part of flood relief measures. Now, Assam Chief Minister yesterday said efforts are on to restore connectivity to southern Assam. The government has also airdropped 4 metric tons of food in Dima Hasao. Meanwhile, in Kerala, several parts are waterlogged, and this is reported by the News Minute due to incessant rains for the third consecutive day. 5 teams of the National Disaster Response Force have been deployed in the state. Now, the IMD has issued an orange alert in 12 out of 14 districts of Kerala. An orange alert indicates that very heavy rains in the range of 6 centimeters to 20 centimeters of showers will take place. Now, the rains are expected to continue for the next 2 days as well. Moving on now, an update on the wheat export ban. At a UN meeting on Wednesday, India has called out to the West and said that food grains should not go the way of the COVID-19 vaccines, as it voiced concern over hoarding and discrimination amid unjustified increase in food prices. Now, this UN meeting comes just days after India decided to ban wheat exports to contain rising wheat prices and also manage food security in India. Now, it's also in the meantime announced some relaxations to that ban. A Minister of State for External Affairs has said, and I quote, "A number of low-income societies are today confronted with the twin challenges of rising costs and difficulty in access to food grains. Even those like India who have adequate stocks have seen an unjustified increase in food prices. It is clear that hoarding and speculation is at work. We cannot allow this to pass unchallenged." End quote. An update on the Gyanvapi mosque case. The Supreme Court today has deferred the hearing on the petition filed in the Gyanvapi mosque case. It's also told the Varanasi Civil Court to not pass any orders till it hears the case. Now, on Monday, the local court had directed district officials to seal a part of the mosque where a shivling was alleged to have been found. A day later, the Supreme Court directed officials to protect the spot where the said shivling was allegedly found. Now, it also said that Muslims should not be restricted from offering prayers at the mosque. Also in the news, the Special Court of the National Investigation Agency today convicted Kashmiri separatist leader Yasin Malik in a terror funding case. Now, on the 10th of May, Malik pleaded guilty to all charges before a Delhi court in a case related to the terror funding and secessionist activities in the Kashmir Valley in 2017. Now, he was booked under several sections including Terrorist Act, raising funds, conspiracy to commit terrorist act, being member of a terrorist gang or organization, among other charges as well. Now, arguments on the quantum of his sentence will be heard on the 25th of May. On to politics right now. The Supreme Court has sentenced Congress leader Navjot Sidhu to a year in jail in the 1988 road rage case. Now, the court was hearing a petition by the family of a man who died after a brawl with Mr. Sidhu and his associate in 1988. Now, immediately after this, Mr. Sidhu took to Twitter and said, and I quote, "Will submit to the majesty of law," end quote. Now, on December 27th, 1988, Mr. Sidhu got into an argument with one Gurnam Singh, a resident of Patiala, over a parking spot. Now, Mr. Sidhu and his associate allegedly dragged him out of his car and allegedly hit him. He later died. Also in the news, Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, has said that virtual private network or VPN service providers that are not ready to comply with India's new guidelines can in fact exit from India. Now, some of the VPN companies have claimed that the new rule may lead to a cybersecurity loophole, an argument that's been rejected by the minister. Now, the minister said, and I quote, "There is no opportunity for somebody to say that we will not follow the rules and laws of India. If you don't have the logs, start maintaining the logs. If you are a VPN that wants to hide and be anonymous about those who use its VPN and you don't want to go by those rules, if you want to pull out, then frankly you have no other opportunity but to pull out," end quote. Now, to give you some context, the Ministry of Electronics and IT had earlier mandated cloud service providers, VPN, and data center companies to store users' data for at least 5 years. Now, they also have to mandatorily report cybersecurity breach incidents to it within 6 hours of noticing them. Now, it also mandates them to enable logs of all information and communication technology systems and maintain them within Indian jurisdiction for 180 days. Moving on now, the ASI or the Archaeological Survey of India has shut Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb's tomb in Aurangabad for 5 days after a mosque committee in the area tried to lock the place. Now, Maharashtra Navnirman Sena spokesperson Gajanan Kale questioned the need for the monument's existence in the state and had said the tomb should be destroyed. Now, an official of the Aurangabad Rural Police has said, and I quote, "The situation at the monument site is under control and no untoward incident has taken place. However, the tomb has been shut for tourists as a precautionary measure," end quote. In the meantime, the Supreme Court has granted interim bail to Samajwadi Party leader Azam Khan in an alleged cheating case, citing unusual facts presented before it. Now, the interim bail will continue till his regular bail plea is decided, clearing the way for his release. Now, the court invoked Article 142 to grant relief to Khan in view of the peculiar facts in this case. Now, Article 142 provides a unique power to the Supreme Court to do complete justice between the parties, where at times law or statute may not provide a remedy. Now, the case is related to alleged land grabbing and forgery related to a school in Uttar Pradesh's Rampur, among others. On to environment news right now. According to a UK Met Office study, climate change makes record-breaking heat waves in India and Pakistan 100 times more likely. Now, this study says that without climate change, such extreme temperatures would occur only once every 312 years. Now, according to forecasters, temperatures in northwest India could reach new highs in the coming days. And it also says that the region should now expect a heat wave that exceeds the record temperature seen in 2010 once every 3 years. Now, the UN Secretary General has commented on this and described the report, and I quote, as a dismal litany of humanity's failure to tackle climate disruption, end quote. News coming in from across the globe. We start off with Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's central bank has said that the country will take at least 6 more months to start repaying its debts. Now, the government has shut schools because of fuel shortages as well. Sri Lanka's governor has said that there will be no debt servicing until the country was able to restructure its $51 billion external debt. In the meantime, Sri Lanka has fallen into default for the first time in its history as the government struggle to halt an economic meltdown. The new Prime Minister is yet to choose a finance minister who will help lead talks with the IMF. And it's day 85 of Ukraine crisis. European Commission President on Wednesday has proposed extra aid to Ukraine of up to 9 billion euros to help the country amid the ongoing Russian invasion. She said, and I quote, "These investments will help Ukraine to emerge stronger and more resilient from the devastation caused by Putin's soldiers," end quote. Moving on now to sports news. In the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the International Basketball Federation is the latest to become an association to exclude Russia and Belarus from participating in hosting international tournaments until further notice. Now, Russia's women's team, which was due to play in the World Cup in Australia this year, has been withdrawn and replaced by Puerto Rico. One piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. This comes in from Kerala. The Kerala High Court has now got 7 women judges for the first time in its history. Now, Justice Shobha Annama Ipan assumed office on Wednesday, taking the number to 7. The High Court now has a total of 38 judges, out of which 7 are women. Now, to give you a perspective of what the numbers are in India, Madras High Court is leading with 13 women judges on its bench, closely followed by Delhi High Court, which has 12 female judges. The Telangana High Court comes third with 10 women judges, while the High Courts of Kerala and Punjab and Haryana share the 4th position with 7 women judges. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.